Welcome to Listen English Story. Today's title is The Invisible Woman. Chapter 1. Laura is an average woman. She is of average height and weight. She has an average job with an average salary. She lives in a medium-sized house and drives a medium-sized car. She even has a medium-sized dog. In short, Laura lives a very average life. Laura's life is also simple and uneventful. She has a university degree and works in Edinburgh, Scotland, as an administrative assistant for a sales management team. She often stays late at work, never complains about her job, and is known as a model employee and a perfect professional. Laura loves living in Edinburgh. On weekends, she enjoys spending time with her friends and family. They often go to sports clubs, movies, or even stage performances. Just last week, she and her husband watched a great movie series. But sometimes, Laura needs some quiet time, so she occasionally goes out of the city for peace. Today, Laura is driving to the countryside with her friends, Raj and Sophie. They plan to have a barbecue. Laura parks her car at a park outside Edinburgh. The area is beautiful, with lots of trees. Sophie looks around and says, "This is a great spot for a barbecue." "I agree," says Raj. "Do we have enough food?" "Of course," replies Laura. "I know how much you like to eat." They all laugh. Then Laura says, "Let's start cooking." Laura, Raj, and Sophie take the food out of the car, turn on some music, and start preparing for the barbecue. Laura gathers some sticks and starts a fire. While waiting for the fire to get hot, Laura checks her messages. "Oh no," Laura exclaims. She has a message from the director at her office. She forgot to send something important to the production department, and they need it right away. Laura recently applied for a new job in that department and has an interview on Monday. She needs to fix this immediately. Laura looks at her friends and says, "Hey guys, I'll be right back. I need to make a work call." "Come on, Laura," says Raj. "You're always working." "Raj is right," Sophie adds. I know, Laura says, but the director is upset. Laura walks over to some nearby trees. It's getting dark, and the trees are very tall, making it hard to see. She calls her office and speaks with another administrative assistant who asks her to wait for the director. As she waits, Laura notices something unusual, a strange light among the trees. She puts away her phone and walks towards the light. It's coming from a beautiful metal ball covered in patterns. Laura has never seen anything like it. She reaches out to touch it, and the metal feels cold and nice. Laura picks up the ball, but suddenly the light goes out. The ball feels strange in her hand, almost too cold. Laura doesn't like the feeling and drops the ball, then returns to the barbecue. When she gets back to her friends, they are talking about her. Raj says Laura should turn her phone off on weekends. "I agree," Sophie adds. "It's not healthy to work so much. She needs to relax sometimes." Laura laughs and says, "Are you guys talking about me? Okay, I'm ready to relax." But Raj and Sophie don't respond. They don't even look at her. Raj is busy checking the barbecue, and Sophie continues preparing the food. Laura waves her hands in front of them and even dances around, but they don't react. It's like she isn't there. Raj and Sophie keep talking about Laura. Raj says, "I wonder where she is. She's been on the phone a long time." "I'm getting worried." "You know her," says Sophie. "She's probably reviewing financials or something. She'll be back soon." Suddenly, Laura realizes something incredible. Her friends can't see her. It's like she's invisible, just like in a TV show. Oh my gosh! Laura thinks, "I can't believe it." But then she remembers the strange ball she touched in the trees. Is that why I'm invisible? She wonders. Laura isn't sure what to do, but then she decides to enjoy the moment. "I don't know how long this will last," she says to herself. "I'm invisible. I should have some fun with it." She listens as Raj and Sophie talk. Raj takes the food off the barbecue, and Sophie sets out cold drinks. Laura works a lot, Sophie says, but it's normal. This is her big opportunity. She might even become the company president one day. "Yeah, but she doesn't earn enough," Raj comments. "True," Sophie agrees. "But her pay will improve. They know she's their best employee. Who knows what she'll achieve?" "Yes, but I just wish she could relax more." "I agree," Sophie says as she continues cooking. Laura is surprised and touched. She didn't realize how much her friends respect her. Everything they're saying is so nice. She smiles, feeling happy. Suddenly, Raj's tone changes. "Seriously though, where is Laura?" "I don't know," Sophie replies. "Let's go look for her." They turn off the music and walk towards the trees where the strange object is lying on the ground. Raj sees it first. "Look, Sophie, what's this?" He bends down and picks it up. Sophie looks worried. "I don't know, but I wouldn't touch it." Raj agrees and throws the ball back into the trees. Then they continue searching for Laura. After a while, they return to the barbecue area and are shocked to see that Laura's car is gone. Raj looks at Sophie and asks, "What's going on? Is this some kind of joke?" "I have no idea," Sophie replies. "No idea at all." Meanwhile, Laura is driving back to Edinburgh. She wants to enjoy being invisible in a public place. As she drives, her friends make an important call to the police. Chapter 2. Laura reaches Edinburgh and parks her car near Prince's Street. She starts walking around the city, amazed that no one can see her. She quietly laughs to herself, thinking, "This is incredible." As she strolls down Prince's Street, she starts thinking about what fun things she could do now that she's invisible. For the first time, she feels like her life isn't ordinary anymore. Laura notices some small shops along the street with lots of shoppers and staff inside. She enters one of the stores. Even though people can't see or hear her, they can still feel her presence if she bumps into them, so she has to be careful. She picks up some shoes and a dress, but she puts them back because she doesn't want to steal, even though she's invisible. Next, Laura goes to a busy restaurant where there's a long line of people waiting to get in. She easily walks past them and goes straight inside, thinking, "This is fun." She enjoys the thrill of being invisible. After spending some time at the restaurant, Laura gets an idea. She decides to visit her office, where her manager is working today. It would be interesting to see what her manager is doing, especially since her manager won't know she's there. Laura quickly heads to her office building. She notices that the security cameras aren't recording her, so she's safe. She waits for a moment until another assistant enters the building, and she follows him into the elevator. Soon, she's on the 7th floor, ready to see her manager. When the elevator doors open, Laura sees her manager, Ms. Smith, in the central office, talking to other managers. Ms. Smith is discussing how hard the employees work. She mentions that while some employees receive bonuses, most only get a small share of the company's profits, which isn't enough anymore. Ms. Smith says they need to improve the company's business so the employees can earn more. Laura is surprised to hear Ms. Smith talking about improving things for the employees. She had never expected her manager to care so much. Ms. Smith then mentions Laura by name, saying that Laura has been a dedicated employee for 5 years, working long hours without ever asking for a raise. However, due to low company profits, they can't pay her more right now. Laura is shocked but happy to hear her manager praise her in front of everyone. She thinks, "This will really help my career." But she's also concerned about the company's low profits. She wonders why the big technology project, led by Antonio, hasn't improved the company's financial situation. Curious, Laura decides to check on Antonio's work. Antonio is a computer programming manager who started as a sales associate and always met his sales goals, which is why he was promoted to the management team. He's now leading a big project that's supposed to bring in a lot of money for the company. Laura enters Antonio's office and starts looking through his files. While she listens to her manager talking outside, she finds Antonio's project file. It turns out Antonio has done a lot of research, but his documents show that the project is actually very promising and not as costly as he claimed. Antonio has been lying about the project's potential. Then, Laura finds another file with a letter from a competitor. It reveals that Antonio has sold the project idea to a competing company and plans to quit his job to work for them. Laura is furious, thinking, "If this project doesn't happen, I won't get my raise." Laura decides to take action. She places Antonio's letter from the competitor and the project file on Ms. Smith's desk, hoping that in the morning, her manager will discover Antonio's betrayal. After leaving the office, Laura heads home to see her husband, Craig. Recently, they've been arguing a lot, and Laura is curious to see what he does when she's invisible. When Laura gets home, she hears Craig talking on the phone, sounding very sad. He's speaking to the police, worried because Laura has been missing for hours. Craig then starts crying, and Laura realizes how much he loves her and how much he's suffering. Seeing her husband like this makes Laura want to fix their relationship. She wishes she could reach out and comfort him, but she knows she's invisible, and it would only scare him. For the first time, Laura starts thinking about how being invisible isn't all fun and games. She doesn't want to stay invisible forever. Laura suddenly remembers the strange metal ball she found in the park. She thinks, maybe if I touch the ball again, I'll become visible. She decides to drive back to the park to find it. As she arrives at the park, Laura sees that Sophie and Raj are still there, but there are also other people, including the police. She wonders, what's going on? Chapter 3. Laura arrives back at the small park, where she sees a crowd of people and police officers. She wonders why everyone is there, and then it hits her. They're looking for her. She spots Sophie and Raj in the crowd, talking near a table. As Laura walks over, she notices that her friends, family, the police, and volunteers from Edinburgh are all there. Even her husband, Craig, has just arrived. Raj says to Sophie, "Think, Sophie, where could Laura be? We were right there with her." Sophie, looking worried, responds, "I have no idea. She'll come back, but it's so strange." "Yeah," Raj agrees. 1 minute she was talking on her phone, and the next she was gone. "I know," Sophie says. "I'm really worried." Laura listens to their conversation and feels guilty. She doesn't want to cause her friends or husband any more worry or waste their time. All she wants is to find the metal ball and stop being invisible. Raj speaks up again. "Hey, Sophie, do you remember that metal ball by the trees?" "Yes," Sophie replies. "Well, I have a theory," Raj says. "A theory?" Sophie asks, looking puzzled. "Yeah," Raj continues. "What if that ball did something to Laura?" Sophie seems confused, but Laura isn't. She's worried. She doesn't want her friends to find out the truth. She just needs to touch the ball again to become visible without having to explain anything. Raj adds, "Maybe the ball is special. Maybe it made Laura sick or even took her somewhere. You never know." Sophie shakes her head. "You and your theories, Raj." But then she pauses, thinking it over. "Maybe. Think about it," Raj says. Laura disappeared right near it. They look at each other before Raj suggests, "Come on, let's go check it out." Sophie finally agrees. "Okay, let's go." As they start walking toward the trees, Laura panics. What if they take the object or give it to the police? She rushes ahead of them, determined to find the ball first. Laura reaches the trees, but the metal ball isn't where she last saw it. She frantically searches for it, thinking, "It has to be here. It didn't just disappear." Raj and Sophie get closer, and Raj points to an area by the trees, saying, "It has to be around here. I threw it right over here." That's it. Laura realizes that someone must have moved it. She needs that ball. She runs to where Raj is pointing, and suddenly Raj stands up with the metal object in his hand. Laura looks closely at the ball, noticing that it's no longer glowing. She doesn't know what that means, but she knows she has to touch it to become visible again. "Hey, Sophie, I found it," Raj calls out. Sophie hurries over, asking, "Wow, what is it?" "I don't know," Raj replies. "It's round and made of metal, but I'm not sure what it does." "Do you really think it had something to do with Laura?" Sophie asks. "I doubt it," Raj says, sounding unsure. "It just doesn't make sense. It's just a metal ball. So much for my theory." He then throws the ball into the trees. Laura watches carefully, tracking where the ball lands. "Come on," Sophie says as they start to walk away. "Let's go talk to the police. Maybe we should call the hospital's or. Laura waits until they're gone, then rushes over to the trees. She finds the metal ball and touches it. At first, nothing happens, but then the ball starts to light up and Laura begins to shake. The ball glows brightly and she thinks, finally, something's happening. The shaking stops and the ball is still glowing. Laura wonders if it worked. Soon, she gets her answer. Laura, Laura. Is that you? She hears. It's Sophie and Raj. They can see her. She's visible again. Her friends run toward her, and Laura quickly drops the glowing ball, which slowly rolls back into the trees and out of sight. Laura, where have you been? Raj asks. Sophie adds, and what was that bright light? That's how we found you. Laura doesn't know what to say. If she tells the truth, no one will believe her. An invisible woman? It sounds crazy. Suddenly, Laura hears another voice. It's Craig. He runs over, hugging and kissing her, then asks, Where were you? I was so worried. Laura stammers, I wasn't in. More voices call out from the crowd, including her manager and several others from the office. Laura is overwhelmed by the support. So many people came to help her. As everyone starts talking at once, Laura raises her hand and says, Please, give me a minute. The crowd quiets down, and Laura continues. First of all, thank you. Thank you so much for all your help and support. She pauses, then says, I'm sure you're all wondering where I was. Well, the truth is. Laura hesitates. Should she really tell them? Would they believe her? She decides to keep it simple. The truth is, I got lost. I was talking on my mobile and wasn't paying attention to where I was going. Suddenly, I couldn't find my way back. She smiles and says, Thanks again, and good night. Laura and Craig walk to her car, ready to go home. As they pass Raj and Sophie, Raj calls out, But what about your car? It was gone. We saw it. And what about that light? Sophie asks. What was that? And we saw something in the trees. It was a metal ball. And Laura keeps walking. She knows she'll have to explain everything later, but not right now. Her experience as an invisible woman was incredible. She learned that she has wonderful friends, a supportive manager, and a loving husband. Most importantly, she realized that having an ordinary life is pretty great. Thank you so much for watching until the end. I hope you enjoyed the video.